Let's break all this down now with Stephen Cook, who's the senior fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations. He's also the author of the book, The End of Ambition, America's Past, Present, and Future in the Middle East. Also joining us is former State Department official and former Obama campaign foreign policy advisor, David Tafuri. All right, great to have you both with us. David, I'd like to start with you. This is Netanyahu's first trip abroad since the October 7th attacks, and many in Israel are furious that he's here giving speeches instead of being home working out a hostage deal. One Israeli newspaper wrote today, never, ever before has there been such a large chasm between high words and contradictory actions.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out why he came here now. Certainly, he's trying to play both parties. He wants to have meetings with both parties. He was invited by senior Republican officials in Congress to do a joint address to Congress. And President Biden, of course, received him, and he'll also meet Vice President Harris. What are his goals by being here? It seems to be just to shore up support in the United States, not only with the U.S. government, but with the U.S. people. It's unclear if that's working, given the number of protests that happen, and especially given the fact that some of the family members of Americans who are still held hostage are very upset by the fact that he's not here and that he's not accomplishing a ceasefire. He seems to hold the keys to the ceasefire now. They're very close to achieving it. There are certain things that Israel has to compromise on, and I think we can have a ceasefire. And that's the main objective of President Biden, and it was the main goal of President Biden's meeting with Netanyahu.
Yeah, Stephen, what infuriated so many Israelis is that Netanyahu delayed sending a delegation to the ceasefire talks while he made this trip here. I mean, that speaks volumes about his priorities.
Well, it's clear that Prime Minister Netanyahu is interested in solidifying the relationship between the United States and Israel, and is more interested in communicating to a base within Israel that the overall strategic goal of the campaign in the Gaza Strip remains intact, which is the destruction of Hamas. As far as the ceasefire goes, there is a tremendous amount of pressure on Netanyahu. But as John Kirby said, there remains gaps between Israel and Hamas. And for the better part of 6 months, we've been hearing that a ceasefire is imminent. The Israelis obviously are not the only player here.
Yeah.
And Hamas, looking at large protests against Netanyahu, the large numbers of primarily Democratic lawmakers who skipped his speech, have to be pleased with the fact that they have been able to delegitimize Israel in the eyes of of many within its most important strategic ally. So I wonder, with all the pressure on Netanyahu and all of the discussion about Netanyahu's reluctance to sign on to a ceasefire, whether Hamas is at this point as willing as we have been told. Of course, over the last 6 months, we've been told again and again that a ceasefire is imminent. Yet Hamas has also been a problem here. So we have two parties, neither the Israeli leader nor Hamas, that have been willing to make the final deal, despite everybody else wanting to have this ceasefire.
Well, I think there are a lot of people in Israel. I know, reading all the press there, we know 72% of Israelis want Netanyahu out. Many believe that this whole trip here is a stunt to prop him up politically. There is also reporting today that some senior Israeli security officials are so frustrated with Netanyahu that they're hoping and pressuring President Biden to convince him to drop some of his demands for a ceasefire. But Netanyahu, Stephen, hasn't listened to much of what Biden has already said. What makes them think he'll listen now?
I'm not sure what anybody believes. Netanyahu is going to make the decisions according to how he calculates both his political interests and what he thinks is best for the state of Israel, which are increasingly one and the same. It is absolutely true that many within the security establishment are frustrated with the prime minister. They're frustrated with the lack of a day after plan, and that large numbers of Israelis dislike Netanyahu.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.